And a word about materials. Yeah, I didn't want to give a massive list of materials because basically you probably won't have them at home. Kids, I'd expect to have a few colouring materials like maybe felt tip pens, colouring pencils, normal pencils. You can use things like biros and markers as well. Ideally some paints. So you might have some, let me grab one, some sort of runny paints that are in a tube. So these are acrylics, just the student ones, I think. I've got a variety of them, but these are quite good for bright colours and things. So yes, acrylic paints ideally, because that's what I'll be using, but any paint that's in a tube that's runny, I'll be using, so that would be good. And then also, I haven't got any with me, but the paints that are hard in a palette and they're hard, I mean, I've got watercolour paints, but kids at home might have, I don't know what they're called. The runny ones are poster paints or something, aren't they? And then the hard ones are just where you add water to it, it's hard, and then you sort of lather it up to get the paint going and then use it with water. Yeah, so those are the two paints ideally. But as I say, I think you can probably do most of these projects with pencils, pen. I'll try and make it so that you can do that, work on paper. Yeah, and paper, if you've just got computer paper, that will work for drawing without paints, because it's a bit too thin for paint. So for actual painting, it would be good to have, you could use cardboard. If you've got any canvases, then great. If you've got any cards, like flat cards, so these are just on, these ones are just on, I think it's recycled card. I did buy it from an art shop, but it's recycled card, it's quite basic. So you could use inside cereal packets, and things like that. Ideally, again, if you've got the paints, like the runny ones, I don't know what they're called, acrylics. If you're going to use cardboard, personally I would paint white over it, so you've got a base to start on. But you could just draw onto the cardboard. It just means the colours won't be quite as bright. Yeah, lots of computer paper to test out and play with. Some computer paper, you know, just like really thin computer paper. If you can buy any, then online, because we can't go out. Cartridge paper, or something a bit thicker, like I really like acrylic paper, acrylic paint paper. You can buy watercolour paper, but as I say, I don't think I'll be doing loads of watercolour because I don't think everyone will have those. I'll do a bit though. I like to use mixed media, so I like to use quite thick paper so that I know I can do anything on it and it won't go mushy or too bendy, you know, when you paint and then it sort of curves up. So that's why acrylic paper is quite good, because that stays flat. And yeah, so and things like paintbrushes and stuff. So I use quite an array of brushes, but all of them, well, I'll just grab some. Mainly all of them are ones that my granddad used. So they're hog's hair, and that's usually used for oil paints, but I use it for acrylics because I like the texture that it gives. But yeah, you don't have to go out and buy these ones. Just Any paintbrushes are fine. Watercolour brush, I use that on acrylics as well. You just have to make sure that you wash them out really well afterwards, because they'll go hard and crusty otherwise, and then you can't use them. So I also use old toothbrushes. Don't go stealing people's toothbrushes, make sure they're old, but they're quite good for getting textures and stuff. We'll be doing a section on textures and things. I also use an old fork to make dots and things, and scratch into the paint. That's quite fun. You can use sponges. You could go outside and get a load of sticks and just sort of dab them in the paint and pull them across. Like, you could use anything, but I guess ideally you'd want maybe a couple of paintbrushes if you haven't got them already. But as I say, we can work around it, so it's no massive big deal. You can do finger painting, so you don't need anything for that. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, pencils, pens, I mentioned those already. Yeah, I think that's the basis. So get yourself some paper, ideally some thick paper. Use cardboard, paint it white if you can. Yeah, and some paints would be good, but this is mainly about drawing. There will be a painting sections, but it will be mainly about drawing, so you can use pens and pencils. So main thing is, don't worry, it's meant to be fun, and hopefully you can use what you've got at home. You can even use nail varnishes. They're quite fun to paint with. So yeah, there will be something in your home, I'm hoping. Okay, that's it for materials. I think there was something else I was meant to say. I'll do another video if I need to. Okay,